Well, how's it going, everyone? This is a new venture for me, and as you can see, my good buddy Justin from Tennessee has joined me for this new adventure. We're a new podcast. We're called the They Are Not From Philly podcast. This is our first episode. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We both love talking football. We're gonna have a great time along the way, and I'm so glad that Justin decided to join me when I reached out to him on Twitter, a few weeks ago, and he was more than happy to get on this ride with me. So we're going to have a lot of good fun and, it's going to be great. So this is where we are today. Obviously, last week was the Bengals game, which was it was a brilliant, brilliant win. So, we'll just dive straight into it. So welcome in. You know him. He's a big name on the Philadelphia sports talk at the moment. He's a great fella. My good buddy, Justin from Tennessee. Justin, how we doing?
What's happening, fella? How we doing over in Wales today?
Yeah, we're all good in Wales, buddy. So Justin, obviously, these last two games, it's been a big step up for the offense, big step up for the defense. Jalen has looked much better, much more in control of the offense. Things have been riding good. We've still got some injuries and we're still managing to deal with them. Obviously, AJ Devontae coming back, it makes all the difference. They've started to, incorporate the run game a lot better. It seems like, a lot of the guys were a bit vocal in the bye week from what we've seen that, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, they wanted to make sure that they start building the run game more. And, that's what you need to do. You need to build off the run game. You can introduce the pass. You can take more control of the game. And that's what it seems like has happened the last two games. So how are we feeling about the last two games, Justin?
Like I said, it seems like we were all worried about the bye week being so early, and it seems like it came at the perfect time. Really, everything was kind of downtrodden. People weren't as happy with a win over the Browns. It didn't look as good, and then you had what was 28-7 win over the Giants, and like you said, you had Lane talking about he and Landon Dickerson and Mailata went to Nick wanting to incorporate the run game a little more, maybe even go from under center a little more. And maybe during the week, Jalen done a little bit of self-reflection and critiquing and decided, hey, maybe, not saying he has, but maybe I've not accepted the offense like I should. I've not taken to the offense like I should because in this last game against the Bengals, we went from under center 22 times. And I'm not sure how many of those were the tush push. I know we've done the tush push at least 3 times on the goal line, and a couple of times in around midfield to get first downs. But there were still several plays from under center. And like I said, maybe Jalen is starting to adapt to the offense a little more. They had no preseason, man. They didn't. And if you look at the line from when things really started to take hold offensively, that kind of mixes in with 4 preseason games. And teams don't play in the preseason. And when you're adapting to an entire new offense, and then like he said, how was it? Like 90% of the terminology was different, and or the play, something like that. It was just totally different. It takes time to get used to that stuff, and I guess quarterbacks are creatures of habit as well, man. I mean, when you're comfortable with one and something changes, it can make a difference.
That's the thing, you got to. I know Jalen, he takes a lot of heat, and I don't want to use this as an excuse, right? He's had all these different offensive coordinators, and I sort of you got to give him a bit of respect in a way because he's constantly had this challenge since college. He's had new coordinators every year, and it's a lot of pressure, and you've got to be a smart guy to just be able to just, adapt to these new playbooks, adapt to these new coaches. Maybe there's maybe Kellen Moore wants to do things a bit different to how Brian Johnson did things. Brian Johnson would have done stuff different to Shane Steichen, so you've got to give him a bit of credit there. But obviously there's a lot of expectation with, the money that they're paying him. He's expected to just adapt. And, you made a good point, when we talked last week about, the Patrick Mahomes saying, well, Patrick Mahomes has got Andy Reid. We've got Nick Sirianni, but obviously Nick Sirianni is a lot different to Andy Reid in the way they're coaching. And I know they like to, tar Nick with this brush now of he's a, well, what is it? He's like a system coach, a CEO coach,
Yeah.
and maybe he is, and that's obviously what suits him. But obviously, you can sort of still tell that he's dipping in and out of the offense. You can sort of tell by some of the plays, that like there was that thing that Chris Long said about are the first 15 scripted plays, is that Nick? How much of that is Nick? How much of that is Kellen? Because obviously, these first quarter drives, they're just not, they're still not, that's the one thing that we've got to try and get over now, if anything. Once we get over that, we're a complete team. This offense, the defense is getting there. So, yeah, it's tough, man.
Well, the thing that was, I guess, kind of misleading with the first quarter points on this game, Cincinnati had the ball for what, 11 minutes in the first quarter? So we
Yeah.
didn't score this game, but we scored on our first drive, I believe. Is that not
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, in the second quarter, yeah.
Step in the right direction. They just dink and dunked us all the way down the field. It was like a 17 play, 11, 10-minute drive, and they ate up the first quarter, So on the bright side, we did score on our first possession, though. Even though it led into the second, we did score on our first.
Yeah. So let's touch on some of the things in the Bengals game then. So what sort of plays stood out to you where you were just like, wow, like that was awesome?
Offensively, there was a pass kind of over the middle to Grant Calcaterra where he opened up.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant.
Like maybe a 15, 20-yard reception, something like that. Calcaterra has pleasantly surprised me this year.
He stepped up in a big way.
He's got deceptively good speed. I really like him, man. I'm not saying he's better than Dallas or anything, but we got to get used to the fact that Dallas probably isn't going to be here next year, going by what a lot of folks have said. And if not, Grant, he's looked good in a backup role,
Yeah.
Play offensively that I liked was obviously the deep pass to Devontae.
That was
like air forever. I was like, God, when's this thing going to come down?
You only sort of see like Jalen make throws like that when he's absolutely sure that the guy is gonna get it. Like the super, that big. Remember the big touchdown at the start of the second quarter in the Super Bowl that he threw to AJ? He knew AJ was going to go and get that. He wouldn't have, done that play if he knew AJ wasn't going to go and get it. And even though he did sort of have to step into that throw for Devontae to get it, he had faith that Devontae was going to get that ball, So it's great to see him take shots like that.
Then on, it was 3rd and 15, 16. He threw, it was one of the, he really stepped into it and fired it in there to AJ to get that first down. AJ, with his back to the line and shoved his way back to get that first down.
Yeah.
He right in there. And I know a lot of folks have said, he doesn't really have the arm strength and all that. He ripped that one, man. That one was
a Yeah, that was like through the eye of a needle. That when I saw him throw that and I was seeing where it was going, I was like, I saw the guys coming in on AJ and I was just like, I don't know if he'll be able to get it. And he did. He's so strong. AJ's so strong. He's so adaptable and he knows where to adjust his body. And I remember him saying in the preseason, nobody prepares the way I prepare. I suppose a lot of guys say that, but it's nice to see then on the field that preparation, you know what I mean? Because just those small minor adjustments, that's preparation. You know what I mean? That obviously is talent as well. It's God-given talent, but that's something you've got to work at. You can't just expect the ball to land in your hand. He had to get that and make sure those guys weren't going to knock it out of his hands.
Definitely. One complaint that I had, it's not against the Eagles, but late in the game when we had backups and stuff in, when Will Shipley got in the game and he ripped that run forward, and man, that I was so happy for him. But then like the ref called that ticky-tack holding call. I'm like, man, you got to out there. Let the kid get his first touch.
Come on, man.
I was upset with that.
They tried it again, didn't they? Then, they tried to do it again to try and get, and they just, the Bengals knew that what was coming as soon as they seen him lined up again. They knew, he's going to try and get, and it was just like, oh man, gutted, absolutely gutted for him.
offensively, man, it's like we've said, it's the best total all around offensive game we've seen all year. Everything worked great. Running game, pass. Jalen looked great. What was he? 15 of 20, 14 of 20, something like that passing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, looked good. No turnovers again. Like
Oh,
3 weeks.
yeah. What a godsend.
So takes the fewest turnovers, wins the game 99% of the time. So just don't turn it over. And if he gets back to that, like what is it that they say he covets the ball. That's
Mm.
he doesn't want to turn it over. If he gets back to that, like man, I think the sky's the limit. I'm not saying this is a Super Bowl team. Right now, the Lions just look absolutely
Oh
phenomenal.
man, they are the team to beat this year.
And like, yeah, the 49ers have been without McCaffrey and Ayuk's hurt now, but I still think the 49ers could be a tough team.
Yeah, they seem to be, they seem to be managing well without their guys. And like, you said, McCaffrey's coming back, so they're going to try and, I suppose when he first comes back, they'll have to limit him a little bit because, those injuries he's had has kept him off the field. So, they're going to have to limit him. But once they get going and he gets even healthier as the rest, there's a lot of football left to play in there, there's a lot of football left. So, that division is anyone's at the moment. The Seahawks, they looking okay. The Rams are finding their way back again. They're finding their rhythm. The Cardinals, they looking okay as well. But yeah. So the NFC, it's wide open at the minute. But if the Eagles have got to keep this going because the window can shut quick. You know what I mean? With the Lions stepping up and, so we got to take advantage because, the Bucks, they are down now. They heard Mike Evans is gone. Godwin is gone. He's out for the season. So, we've got to obviously, forget about the Lions for now. They are the darlings at the moment of the NFC. Now, the Vikings are starting to stutter a bit. We can't count them out. The Packers, they seem to be back. They seem to be in every game, even though their defense is giving up a lot of points. They're finding ways to win as well, So maybe they'll collapse again later on down the line. But the Eagles, we've got to take, we've got to keep this momentum going now because we've got a tough schedule coming up now. You know what I mean? Got division games now. Like look at the Commanders the other night. They found that Hail Mary. Oh my God, I was watching that game and I was like, oh, the Bears, they found a way. They've won it now. They've done it. And then when I seen afterwards of that Bears defender standing off celebrating to the sidelines when he was the one that should have been in the middle. I'm like, what are you doing, you idiot? Like, oh, I could not believe that. So I was like, you can't count, Daniels, he's hurt his ribs, but he looked pretty mobile. He looked, he was moving, he was running with the ball. He didn't seem to get hurt. So yeah, we got a tough slate coming up. So we got to keep this going now.
It's like you said with the NFC as a whole. I think I think the Giants are a really bad team. I think the Panthers are a really bad team.
Mm.
Cowboys are the Cowboys. They're going to be around 500. I don't think they're going to threaten anybody with anything. I think they're ready to implode. But
Yeah,
like NFC West, the Cardinals are probably like a 500 team. But you could
yeah,
convince me Hawks, Rams, or 49ers could win the West. You could
yeah,
convince me the Packers, Bears, or Vikings will finish second in their division with Detroit likely running away with it, barring an major injury to
yeah,
somebody,
yeah,
a player. But I mean, the NFC is going to be super tough this year, man. And the Saints are not that great. The Falcons could be a 500 team. I think we all
yeah,
believe that win the South the way it looked. But like you said, Godwin's out. I'm not sure how long Evans is going to be out. And the Falcons are looking a little better. Kirk Cousins is coming along. He's coming off an Achilles injury, and he's what 37, 38.
yeah,
So I mean, starting to get his stride a little bit,
yeah,
and they beat us. You know what I'm saying? In
yeah,
Philadelphia, back
yeah,
in the game we should have won. But
yeah.
the NFC is going to be wide open as far as playoff. Like who's going to win? I think everybody agree right now. Detroit is the best team in the NFC, and everybody else is chasing their tail. But
Yeah.
the NFC is going to be tough.
Oh yeah. Gonna be tough. Right. So
As
let's.
far
Sorry,
as
go on. Ian.
defense, yeah. Let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Thursday, when Ike and Spike and Jack had Mike Lombardi on, he was kind of talking about the secondary
Mm.
and saying how bad that they were. And he's like, these guys just can't cover, and it's showing up. I don't see that personally. Quinyon Mitchell, if you look at, I forgot who posted it. I meant to write it down. I apologize. I'm new at this. But uh, as far as his first 7 games in the league, you compare it to Sauce Gardner's first 7 games in the league, and I'm pretty sure Sauce Gardner was an All-Pro rookie. They
Yeah,
grade out the exact same as far as
yeah.
what they've done in pass coverage. I think Howie has knocked it out of the park with Quinyon Mitchell.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
this before. I had no idea about Quinyon Mitchell. I watch a ton of college football. I've got College Game Day going on in the background while I'm talking to you right now. But
yeah,
I had no clue about Quinyon Mitchell. I liked Kool-Aid McKistry and Terrion Arnold a little more, but I was
yeah.
more
They were the big names, weren't they? Yeah,
I wanted Cooper DeJean. I was more familiar with him. But
yeah.
on the right side, we got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean now.
Oh,
So,
how he always finds a way, doesn't he? He's
dude,
like we said the other day. That draft where he brought in AJ, he knew that year he had to start making a change with his drafts. He had to get better, and he has since every draft since he's brought in, the top guys, and then he's brought in a couple of surprising players like Quinyon Mitchell, so yeah, he's how he always finds a way.
let me run this by you too. And I wanted to run this by the guys on the afternoon show, but I wanted to hold it for this, for
Mm,
you and me and anybody that winds up watching this to get your opinion and bring a thought to everybody's mind. Last year, everybody was kind of down on Nolan Smith. He looked bad. He didn't look great. How he blew another first round pick and all that.
yeah, yeah,
It's going to be a wasted pick. He's had sacks 3 straight games now. He's looked better as the season has progressed.
yeah,
Do you think part of it was, okay, he's a rookie and all that, and he went through 2 defensive coordinators in one season?
yeah,
And the one wasn't that great. Now he's had a more consistent, a more proven defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio, and maybe that stuff's starting to click with him a little bit. Maybe
yeah,
Fangio and this line coach that they've got have worked with him, and things are clicking a little bit more. And he's coming on because it's 3 straight weeks he's gotten a sack. I think he graded out last week or the week before as top 3 in the league as far as pass rush pressures.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
don't write these kids off after their rookie year just because they didn't do
no,
what they
no, you can't.
first round.
We saw Jalen Carter hit his rookie ball, didn't we?
Yeah.
But like then again, that might have been a case of because the defense, the change, bringing Matt Patricia in, and the change of coordinators, and I think Jordan Davis said in the preseason that Fangio he's holding them more accountable in training and the training camp. He's riding them more, he's on them more, and maybe they didn't get enough of that in their rookie
Yeah.
year. Maybe they were sort of just left to it. They were the Georgia Bulldogs coming in. Everyone just thought they were just going to pick it up. And then obviously the chaos in the middle of the season, then the collapse came and everyone just looked terrible. Everyone looked out of sync. So I think, bringing Fangio in, it could be the thing that saved them. You know what I mean? Saved
Yeah.
the Georgia Bulldogs. You know what I mean? Jordan Davis, obviously he's still not quite standing out, but he's there. I think he's trying.
Yeah.
He's given. I think he has given everything he can, but unfortunately, he's just, he's like everyone says, he's never going to be a sack leader. He's never, you know
No.
what I mean? Long as he can help in the run stop game, and he's there and he's making a difference. He's causing tackles for a loss. He's stopping first downs. He's helping to make third down stops when they run it. Then that's just what we got to live with Jordan Davis. So that's just who he's going to be. But long as, Jalen Carter stepping up, like, Nolan, he's finding his stride now. He's the sack leader on the team,
Yeah.
so, it's there. That talent was always there. And just thank God Fangio has, he seemed to be bringing it out to them this year. You know what I mean? And if it takes being tougher, takes, a little bit of tough love, not treating them like puppies, like BG said, we don't want the puppies. She wants the big dogs,
I want the dog.
so we need them Georgia Bulldogs,
Yeah.
so they're starting to show now, like we talked about, Jalen Carter at the end of that New Orleans Saints game, he was ready to throw hands with,
Anybody?
yeah, so he was ready, and Sirianni had to hold him back. It's usually everyone holding Sirianni back, isn't it? So it's good to see that aggression. You know what I mean? We hear about all the time. Brian Dawkins, he wants that dog in him. You know what I mean? Rios, the sergeant major when he comes
Oh
on,
yeah.
you know what I mean? He's right in what he says. You know what I mean? He's completely right. You've got to have that attitude, that fight mentality. Obviously, you can't take it too far, but it's got to be enough where you're causing those problems for the offense on the field, and it's starting to show now, which is great, which is really good to see. Let's just hope they can keep it up.
Real quick about Jordan Davis. Last year's 7th-round pick out of Texas. Let me see if I can get his name right. Moro Ojimo. He
Yeah,
actually had snaps last week than Jordan Davis. And when
yeah,
they he had like everything that I was looking at that year of the draft, pre-draft, and I don't have the tools and everything to go through like a lot of these draftniks and experts do. But
mm,
like I'd seen several Texas games, and I thought, man, this kid's good. He could be a third to 5th round pick in that area. He fell to the 7th round, and I was shocked.
yeah,
And a friend of mine, uh, who's a big Texas fan, he's like, man, he said, we got to steal out of him in the 7th. He said, I'm telling you, give this kid like a year or so to develop. And he said, I'm telling you, he said, this kid could be really good. He could be a huge steal for us out of the 7th round. He had more snaps than Jordan Davis last week, and he's flashed at times. I think he got a sack. Was it against Cleveland? He may have got.
yeah,
It was either
yeah,
or the Giants. Everybody got sacks against the Giants. It seemed
yeah,
like,
yeah,
but it was they draft so well on the offensive and defensive line. It seems, and
yeah,
Jordan Davis. I don't think he's ever going to be, like you said, what we want him to be. But I could have told you that when they drafted him.
yeah,
I could have told anybody that. It signaled to me that they were looking to change to more of a 3-4 style defense, and he's a guy who's going to eat up 2 blockers and let linebackers have freedom to roam and come in and crash on the run
yeah,
game or do whatever, blitz, whatever. And that's, I mean, just getting sacks is not what he did. But I hope
yeah.
they can get his stamina up to where he can play more and stuff like that. But
Yeah, that
I
that
don't.
that seems to be the problem that's always going to be there. I think I think he's never going to get that fitness that he needs to stay on the field, unfortunately. I think if he just,
Dude,
I
man.
think he's worked at it, but he's either doing one or two little things wrong or eating the wrong thing or not eating the right thing. But I can't see it being that because, they've got all these special dietitians at the team facilities. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
They get everything planned out for them to, keep them fit, keep them strong. So it could just be a case of genetics. If he hasn't got that in him to completely get that, if he can only get to that 80%, that 70%, long as it's enough to help make that difference and it doesn't cause any major mistakes or, then that's just something we're going to have to live with. Yeah, unfortunately, they've always wanted the Fangio defense. They tried to make it work without Fangio over the last couple of years, and by bringing in, Jonathan Gannon, Sean Desai, all these disciples of Fangio, and it didn't quite work. And I think in 2023, when they realized, they missed out on getting Vic Fangio. They let him go to the Dolphins where they could have tried to get him. They let him go.
Well,
Didn't
see,
work with Sean Desai.
they could have tried to get him. That's when they thought Gannon was coming back, and Gannon told him he was coming back. And
Yeah,
then
he didn't do it on them.
Fangio had went to the Dolphins already because I think he had already committed to the Dolphins or something like that. He was helping us prepare for the Super Bowl. And
Yeah, he was
then
like an assistant or something. He
no
was like a
was that,
specialist assistant.
yeah, what we didn't know was that Gannon was working a deal with the Cardinals behind our back, and he hadn't told us. And that's why we got that pick swap from them,
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
some sketchy stuff going on with the dealings with Gannon. So I mean, I believe if we would have known going into the Super Bowl or like a week before that Gannon was going to be gone, they'd have hired him then because it's like you said, they've always kind of liked that defense. And they've tried everything in the world to run it without getting him, and they couldn't get him. So that's kind of why they went to Desai last year because he's more of a Fangio disciple. I think he worked under him in Chicago, wasn't it? I think he was the defensive coordinator 1 year in Chicago or
yeah,
something. But yeah, I mean, Gannon screwed us there. It's kind of like the way the way after the Super Bowl year when we thought we were going to at least get Frank Reich back, and
Yeah.
John McDaniel backed out of that Colts job, and then the Colts came and got Frank Reich from us,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
came there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. But there we go. So I think, everyone yesterday, they seen, obviously, we'll segue quickly now to the Sixers. Everyone yesterday saw Embiid's press conference, and it was like, it was something we haven't seen since, Allen Iverson with the practice thing,
Yeah.
for me. He sort of like just went full gate, I've done all this for the city. I've been through this, I've been through that. They've done this, they've done that, this, that, and the other. And, it's sort of wrong some people, and some people agree with what he says. What are you thinking, Justin? How are you feeling about Embiid?
If he wants to go after a media person, who was it? Marcus Hayes?
Marcus
Is that who
Hayes,
you're
yeah.
talking about? If he wants to go after somebody like that, that's fine. That's fine. But the fans, this is my opinion. Excuse me. The fans work full-time jobs,
Oh,
anywhere
yeah.
between 60 hours a week, hard labor jobs, paying
Yeah.
money prices to go to these games, outrageous prices for concessions and parking and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
that it takes
Shocking.
to the game. And, you have a kid who Joel Embiid is his favorite player and all that. He wants to see Joel Embiid play, and he likes Maxey, and he likes Paul George and stuff like that. But they're not Embiid. But he goes to the
No.
game, and Joel Embiid's not playing. It's a
Yeah.
scheduled day off, whatever like that. And don't go after the fans. Don't. You're
Mhm.
going to lose. You're going to lose every time. I don't care if it's a Philadelphia fan base. I don't care if it's a New York fan base. I don't care if it's a Tennessee fan base. Don't go after the fans like that because,
Yeah.
prices to go to sporting events are outrageous. Like
Yeah.
you can't really afford to do it. If you do, it's maybe one game a year out of all
Yeah.
these games.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
unreal. And when you have a fan base that has been disappointed by a team as much as Sixer fans, and I've only been listening to WIP probably since late or maybe early 2018 after the Super Bowl and
Yeah.
stuff. I find it until then.
Yeah.
I'm late.
I think I was the same. I think I was about the same. I was up for 2018, 2019. I discovered, WIP, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a great fan of
So
them.
so the thing of it is, in my opinion, when everybody, like I've heard Spike say, well, people are tougher on Sixers than they are the Phillies. Well, that's
Mm.
because, in my opinion, it feels like Phillies ownership cares about the fans. Sixers ownership cares about money. And I
Yeah.
know they all care about money, but the Sixers owner also owns the New Jersey Devils and now the Washington Commanders.
Oh, yeah.
He just, this guy does not care, and everybody feels that from him. But when John Middleton speaks, like when he spoke this year before the playoff run started, like you could hear the emotion in his voice. Like, I grew up here. This is the team I rooted for. Me and my dad were at the 1980 World Series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Fans hear that, that resonates with them, and it
Oh,
may
yeah.
just be like blowing smoke. It may be true.
Mm.
I don't know anything about John Middleton, but it resonated with me. I felt it.
Yeah.
It felt true. It felt honest. It felt like the real thing. You're never going to hear Josh Harris say anything like that. And
No.
people just, that's why they're so hard on the Sixers because, like, a few years ago when Embiid didn't play a playoff game and Brett Brown was like, he was sick. He called and he was sneezing and sneezing and sneezing. You've heard that clip go time and time again. And how sick, how really, you got, I don't know, man. It just seems like to me these guys. I'll tell you this real quick. I have a friend I used to work with. His son was a big LeBron James fan, and I think LeBron played for the Heat at the time. This was
Yeah.
several years ago, and we live like 4 hours from Atlanta, 4 hours from Charlotte, roughly. And he was looking to see when the Heat was going to be nearby because his son, all he wanted was to see LeBron James play live. So he was going to be in Charlotte. So he bought tickets for his son for Christmas. That's what this kid wanted for Christmas. This kid's like 14 years old or something. So they go to Charlotte, and when they get there, it is announced LeBron James will not be playing.
Oh,
And
man.
this
Oh,
kid devastated. And
yeah.
he wasn't injured. He wasn't injured. He wasn't sick. He's sitting on the sidelines in street clothes, laughing and stuff. And this is when he
No.
played. It's not 40-year-old LeBron James.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
when
yeah.
he played. And this kid was devastated, man. And
Oh,
that's what you can't do. I mean,
yeah.
you just
That's the thing I hate most is that, it costs so much money and people have to work so hard. And, you go, these guys aren't there. You're seeing them on the sideline and it must be the most, it must be the most gut punching. That's one of my worst fears is that, when I hopefully get to go back out to Philly in a few years and see an Eagles game or a Phillies game or Sixers game, whoever, and, there's someone there and it's like, they're not playing. If they got a bad injury, they got a bad injury. That can't be helped. But if it's if it's a case of these scheduled days off and things like that, and it's just like, no, come on, you've got to do better. Like, these guys earn a lot of money, and they've got all these physiotherapy teams around them, all these doctors, all these trainers. There must be ways and means to get on the field, to get on the, you know. It's just, yeah,
that.
that must be the most gut punching feeling ever.
And like with football, it's totally different because you have the injury report and things like that. It's one
Yeah,
game a week.
yeah,
So you're probably going to know on Thursday if Jalen Hurts isn't going to play Sunday.
yeah,
You're going to know on if it's a Monday night game, you're going to know by Friday if AJ Brown's not going to play Monday night. Things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And I know basketball, how many games a year is it? 80 games, something like
82,
that.
82, I
Yeah.
think. Something like that.
Baseball's 162, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And I can understand a baseball player getting a day off. It's 162 games. I can understand that.
yeah, yeah.
But like, I don't know. It really irks me when they do these scheduled days off. And you used to remember hearing Doc Rivers scheduled loss.
Schedule loss. Oh man,
And
that drove me nuts. I was like, come on, what are you talking? A
that,
schedule loss?
that's ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah,
absolute joke. So, I mean, what were your thoughts on Embiid? I'm sorry, I
yeah.
rambled along.
No, it's okay, man. Yeah, my thing was, when I heard he was going to play in the Olympics, I was like, I what I didn't know what to make of it first, and getting closer, I was like, yeah, okay, it might be okay to see him be in the Olympics, but how much are they going to play him? And I don't think he played. Didn't seem like he played a lot, but he played enough. And with the injury with the knee he had last year, and the amount of time that he had to miss with the Sixers, and when he did come back, you just knew it wasn't going to be enough for him to make a difference. He tried, and he's had all these injuries, he's had all these surgeries on his knee, and what I don't understand is that they've given him this extension now, knowing how bad his knee is and what they've had to do to repair it. And it's obviously whatever's, it doesn't look like he got injured at the Olympics, but we don't know, what happens behind the scenes and stuff like that. How they like keep things so wrapped up, and they only give us information when they want to give us information when it suits them. And something's happened where something's cropped up again in that knee where he can't play now. So it's all bad timing. The Sixers, they can't be honest with everyone like they should be. Like you said, the Phillies will be honest. You've got the injury report in the NFL. Stop trying to hide things. You've already angered the city enough by building this arena. You've got Josh Harris as your owner. You've got to see him on TV now with the Commanders. It's just like, it's not good. And I think Embiid, I feel bad for him in a way because I think yesterday everything just like built up. He lost his rag, and he shouldn't have. Maybe he went too far. But I can sort of feel his frustration because he's probably irked himself because he's probably thinking, why can't my body just hold up? It must be a thing that every year you're getting hurt, and maybe that's just a case of, well, that's the game, that's the way it is. You get injured, and yeah, you do, but I don't know. I think time with Embiid, it's come to an end, but it's not going to be at an end because he's got this extension now. They got to pay him this money. We're just going to be stuck with this reality of where his knee is always going to give way at some point. Like my thing now is that when I see Embiid play now, when he does play, I think he's going to play next week. I think after the West
That's
Coast break,
the rumor.
something like that.
Yeah, that's the
And when
rumor.
when he plays, and I'm gonna, watching him. It depends how aggressive they're gonna want him to play. But if he's gonna be doing what he's been doing the last few years, drive into the net himself, and when he falls on that knee every time, people are gonna be like, their hands are gonna, and it's not gonna be a good feeling. So the time with Embiid is coming to an end, but it's not going to be at an end. That's the problem. Then I think they're missing the window is closing to be able to build around Maxi, and I think it's going to hinder Maxi's growth, and we're just not going to be in 5 years' time. Maxi might be gone as well,
Yeah.
So Maxi will be a lot older. 5 years is a lot of age to have. So it's not going to be good. The window is closing with everything, and it's not good for the Sixers. It's not good.
Well, another thing that bothers me is like, okay, I know you want to play in the Olympics. I know you want to be a part of that team and you want to win a gold medal.
Yeah.
But to me, I agree with what Rhea Hughes has said on the morning show. It's selfish. The Olympics are not paying your salary. The
No.
fans and the team in Philadelphia are the ones paying your salary. It's cool that you got a gold medal and all that. But I mean, if you wanted to really give your all for the fans, you could have to get people in your corner. You could have said, I really wanted to play in the Olympics. They put me on the team, but I think I'm just going to sit it out. I'm going to rehab. I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to try my best to be ready to go 100% for the 76ers at the beginning of the season. And if you wanted to, I don't know. I don't even know if he could have went with the team and like not played.
Yeah.
Just sat out. He probably couldn't have got the rehab he needed or whatever. Just traveling around for the Olympics. To me, that's something else that kind of irks me. Yeah, I know you want to win a gold medal and all that, but to me, the Olympics aren't paying this new big contract. It's the 76ers. It's the fans of the 76ers that are paying that hard-earned money for the tickets and the concessions and
Yeah,
the
man.
buying the jerseys and the hats and the hoodies and everything else.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. And it's like he doesn't get it to me. And I
No.
don't know.
The whole
I've told you.
organization doesn't. For some reason, the Sixers they don't care about the fans. They really
No.
don't at this point. And that comes from Josh Harris as the ownership. That trickles down into the rest of the management. He's controlling everything, obviously from the top, and he wants his arena. He'll get his arena. You know, he wants to give Embiid this contract, knowing, he knows, everyone knows that Embiid's knee is never going to hold up to the standard we need it to hold up to. And, that's not Embiid's fault, but it's just the way it is. And it's never going to be enough. And the Sixers fans were always going to just have that pain.
Yeah, I don't. The thing that I hate about it for Sixers fans, I've told you this. I used to love basketball when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
I just kind of I faded away from it. I still enjoy college basketball, but I do not like the NBA game anymore.
Mm.
I'll find myself during the season if it's a big game, and I'll hear the folks on WIP talking about it. I might
Yeah.
watch it if it's on ESPN or TNT or something like that. I'll watch a
Yeah.
little bit of it, but at the same time, I'm playing on my phone. I'm not focused in on the
Yeah.
game.
That's it. Yeah.
Kind of me the next day when I'm listening to WIP at work to know what they're talking about a little bit.
Mm.
But the thing that if they had a different owner, somebody who was committed to the city of
Yeah.
Philadelphia, not
Yeah.
committed to the Washington Commanders during football season and the New Jersey Devils during hockey season if they're any good. I've heard a lot of fans say they really wish that John Middleton and Jeffrey Lurie would buy the Sixers and split it between them.
Oh man, can
They
you imagine?
love the Sixers if that happened because
Yeah.
two guys love the city of Philadelphia. They
Yeah.
love their fans, love
Love
the
the
team.
teams. Yeah.
It just it's a joke, and that's why the
Yeah.
people hate on the Sixers so much. And I'm an
Yeah.
outside as well as you. We
Yeah. Yeah.
only hear and see what we hear and see on Twitter and WIP and stuff like that. We're not there
Yeah.
living it day in
No.
day out,
That's it.
and
Yeah.
we that. So I mean, it's blatantly obvious.
Oh yeah. It's got to be really frustrating for
God,
for everyone in Philly. Yeah. Well, let's have a look now then. It's Kelly Green week. We've got a little
Ooh,
bit of Kelly Green on ourselves today because, I got Jalen in the background, but there from the walk off. So, let's have a look at the matchups against the Jags.
yes,
The
sir.
Jags at the minute, they're beaten down. They're desperate for a win. I'm hoping this ain't going to be a trap game. I'm
Yeah,
praying that it's not going to be. Not, I don't want that to happen to the Kelly Green game. Touch wood. So the matchups we got Lane Johnson, arguably the best right tackle in the league. He has to be. You know,
yes,
Nick Bosa wanted to, talk last year. Oh, we figured out the Eagles' plan and all that. But Lane Johnson made mincemeat of him in that game.
yeah,
He couldn't get around Lane in that game. So Lane is the best. He's going up against Travon Walker. He was a high draft pick for
yeah.
the Jags. He's a good edge rusher. They've got a good run defense. So how do you think Lane and Walker are going to match up against each other?
I think Lane's going to take care of business like he always does. I know Walker's probably
Yeah.
younger, quicker, and all this stuff, but Lane is so agile and so daggone good to be as big as he is to be a right tackle. I mean, people probably forget this guy was a quarterback in junior college before he went to
Yeah.
Oklahoma and became.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just such a freak athlete. Ran a 4.7 at the combine and all this. We have been blessed with our offensive lines in Philadelphia ever
Oh,
since
yeah.
basically probably before Jeff Stoutland. I think Ike said it the other day. We had Juan Castillo as an offensive line coach who was
Mhm.
great all those years. Then we had
Yeah.
Howard Mudd. I think Andy Reid brought Howard Mudd in for like his last 2 years or something like that, or
Mm.
maybe it was only the 1 year when they moved Juan to defensive coordinator. I can't remember.
Mm.
And then the best thing Chip Kelly ever did for the organization was
I was
bringing in
just about to say that myself. Yeah.
Jeff Stoutland from Alabama, man, getting him from Alabama because
Yeah.
that guy is unreal. And something I've been wanting to say for a while. When we picked Andre Dillard, I thought, oh, we've got our next left tackle for years. JP, when he retires, Andre Dillard's
Mm.
going to lock it down,
Yeah.
and he could take it under Jeff Stoutland. So that just tells me how bad he
He
is. When
must
you've
have
got
been.
George
Yeah.
Plata, who never played the game before,
Yeah.
and picked in the 7th round, coming off of a rugby background, and you
Yeah.
turn him into a Pro Bowl left tackle. That's how bad of a player Andre Dillard was. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think Lane's going. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think he'll be okay. Maybe one or two times he might, put a bit of pressure against him because,
Yeah,
he's a bit younger. But I think overall Lane should hopefully keep it in control. So, Isaiah Rogers looks like he's going to be getting his first start. Slay is out.
yeah,
So it's gonna be Rogers, Quinion on the other side. Rogers is most likely, I think Quinion will be going up against Thomas Jr. in certain different blocks and stuff as well. But, let's say Rogers goes up against Jr. for most of the game. How do you think that's going to fare? Because, he missed a lot of time. He's only, he missed a bit of the preseason. He had the hand injury, didn't he, at the start of the season. He's had limited snaps. Last week he looked good when he came in for Slay. He helped, CJ get that interception.
yeah.
So how do you think he's going to fare in his first
I've,
start?
I've been a big advocate of Rogers for a while now. I, I've even said on the afternoon show when things weren't looking as good that if things took a downhill turn that maybe we could trade Darius Slay and get Isaiah Rogers and Keely Ringo more playing time to see maybe what they
Mm,
could offer for next season. Now, granted, we're not at that point anymore. We're a 5-2 team. We looked as good as we have all season in the game against the Bengals. But this is still going to be huge for Isaiah Rogers to get out there and prove to what he can do for next season because I think everybody knows Darius Slay's probably not going to be with the team next year.
no,
This is
I
probably
don't
going
think
to be his final season with the team. So I mean, he's getting a big opportunity. I think he played well in last week against the Bengals, but like you said, it is going to be his first start with the Eagles. So I mean, it's not going to be. He's not going to shut anybody down. I don't think. But if he can give up like 5 catches all day, something like
so.
that,
Yeah.
on 8 targets for like 30 yards, 40 yards,
Brian
that'll be
Thomas
a good.
Jr. is good as well.
Yeah,
He's really flashed for the Jags. He seems to be a guy, it's his first year, but Trevor Lawrence seems to trust him a lot.
yeah,
He's got a few touchdowns off him. He seems to be one of the guys he goes to when it's like third down, second down, he seems to go to him and he does the job. He goes and gets the ball for him. So, it's going to be a tough matchup for Quinion as well. Even if Quinion has to line up against him on, a few different snaps, it's going to be tough. So it's going to be an interesting matchup to see. So yeah, that's
So,
going to be tough.
real quick, is Christian Kirk out this week? I think he is, right?
I think I'll have to go back and check. I think he's out, but I think I heard yesterday that he could be playing because there was talk of Brian Thomas Jr. being doubtful as well. I've seen that
Okay.
somewhere. So I'll have to go back and look. But I mean,
Well,
if
Kirk
both
was
of them
mainly
are
out of the
out,
slot. So I mean, if he's playing, I think that'd be a good test matchup for Cooper if Kirk is playing. And also, don't overlook Evan Ingram. He's not a blocking tight end by any means, but that guy
no,
he's really
I think
good,
he's
man.
I think he's out. I'm sure he's done for the year. Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
he got injured in Green Bay last week. I think he caught like a touchdown and then he seemed hurt, and I think he's out now for the rest of the season. So, that's a
Oh
big
wow.
weapon of theirs that, now the guy that Trevor Lawrence trusts. So, maybe they could focus on the run game a bit. Travis Etienne Jr., he's coming back for this game, so they might try and run it a bit and then play off that. So, we'll have to
They
see.
they also traded their starting left tackle this week too.
Yeah, he's gone to the Vikings, isn't it? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
that's
yeah,
going
that's
to be something to look out for pass rush
another.
and everything like that.
Yeah,
Man,
it's defense. Then Georgia Duck boys, they got to, they got to take advantage of that, definitely. Oh yeah.
we've
So
we've got to do to get Bryce Huff going, man. I don't know what we've got to do. I've heard
yeah,
things like work more of out of a 4 point stance with the Jets on pass rush downs and stuff like that. Man, there's got to be something they can do to get this guy going. I mean, a little bit of confidence goes a long way. So hopefully,
yeah.
maybe we can glimmer of hope out of him. But
I think
I
he's had like
really
a
don't know.
couple tackles in the last couple of weeks, and he had like half a sack. He's starting to come out a bit, but it's not gonna, it's not enough.
No,
you can't just be doing that every game. That's not enough. It's not what we're paying him for. He's going to be here for the next 2 years at least with that
yeah,
contract. So he's there. If he's better coming off that 4 point stance, then do it. Find a way to use that. So I'm sure Fangio will maybe, he'll give it a little bit more time to see if he can, come out of his shell in his defense. And then if not, maybe he will start experimenting a little bit then. So, that's going to be interesting this week now is how Vic and Doug, who's going to win that matchup? Do you think Doug is going to come here and make a splash, make some noise, or
I don't think they have enough on offense. Like our
yeah,
defense is really starting to gain confidence. And it's like I said just a minute ago, confidence goes a long way. And I think our defensive secondary ranks 10th in the league right now in pass yards allowed or something like that.
yeah,
And I think we're either top 10 or number or 11 in overall defense. Maybe I can't
yeah.
remember that. But I just don't think they have enough on offense to push us. I think Doug's probably on his last legs down there.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like he pressed at times. I really had. I'll always love Doug Peterson. He gave me my
yeah.
first and
Of
only Super
course, yeah,
Bowl.
yeah,
But I just don't think that he's going to be long for Jacksonville. I think this is probably going to be his last year. Uh, I think Trevor Lawrence, when he was drafted, man, I thought this kid was going to be great. I really did. But he had a 1 year of Urban Meyer that really stunted his development,
oh yeah,
and then Doug to kind of calm the waters a little bit. And I thought it was a really good hire. Doug, solid guy and all that, but
yeah, yeah,
it's grown like everybody thought he should as a number one overall pick. So
yeah. But that's the thing with the Jags now. They've given Lawrence that big contract, and they're gonna have to see it out at the minute. But I don't think Trevor Lawrence is as good as he was. They were expecting him to be. Like you
no,
said, Doug calmed the waters a little bit, and but then last year they could have won the division and they blew it, and this year things haven't gone well, and it seems unfortunately Doug is the one that's going to pay the price. When you
yeah.
just paid your quarterback all that money, Doug will be the one that gets in, unfortunately. So yeah, yeah, we got say 10 minutes left now, Justin. So you know something I loved last year was, unfortunately, because it's Kelly Green week, before that collapse last year, the Buffalo game was one of the best games I've seen since I've been an Eagles fan. And, it was Kelly Green, it was raining, it was dirty, it was a major, major shootout. It was an amazing game. And I remember, that's when I was my previous job and I was a postman. I'm up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and the games are on so late in the UK because of we're ahead. So I couldn't watch that game live. So I was recording it that night and I got up, I was doing work that morning at like 6 a.m. So I got up at like 4:30 and I got up and I was just like, I was watching and things were going wrong and the Bills kept finding their way back into the game and then Jalen was hitting back and then it went to overtime and my heart was like, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And I was watching the clock so I was like, oh, I got like 5 minutes, I need to leave for work and, but I was like, it was in overtime, I had to finish that game. And then, Jalen, that drive was absolutely fantastic. You got him all the way down and then you ran it in the quarterback draw and it was just a hell of a game. And, you and Owen, you went out to Philly that week, you watched the game, you know, tell everyone what it was like to experience that thriller at the link. The Kelly Green, it must have been amazing.
It was everything I could have hoped for. It was. I mean, you could not have. If you would have told me that was how it was going to go for me, I'd have said you're full of crap. I'd have said there's
Yeah.
no way, because my fandom goes back to the Kelly Green when that's what drew me to be an Eagles fan. This color right here. I know
Yeah.
we've had the most success wearing the midnight green, but this color right here, Randall Cunningham, Reggie White, Seth Joyner, Clyde Simmons, Jerome Brown, all those guys is what led me to be an Eagles fan when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, just being there with my son, raising him to be an Eagles fan as well,
Yeah. That's
And
what I'm doing with my son now. I taught him, he's 2 years old and he can he can sing Fly Eagles Fly and he says Dallas Sucks. So,
that
my work is
raising
done.
him, raising him right. But
Yeah.
like people always give Eagles fans such a hard time. Oh, they're rude, they're disrespectful, stuff like that. They're not. If you're rude and
No.
disrespectful, now I didn't see any. There were a few opposing fans that had Bills jerseys on and hats and stuff. They would give them a little crap, nothing out of hand,
Yeah.
like
Banter.
stuff that any fan base does. But man, when we got there, we had my buddies Drew and Justin got us to the stadium. And then we had some folks that we met up with in the lots to wanted to meet us and let us tailgate with them. It was like Tennessee fans, dude. Tennessee fans are open and welcome. When you go to a football game, you can be an opposing team. Like I've seen them do even with Alabama fans. Hey, you guys want a drink? You want a sandwich? Stuff like that. They were
Yeah.
so welcome. And then the fact that I've been calling WIP since 2018. Like I said, people, it was so humbling. Like people wanting to meet me like I was Jalen Hurts or Jason Kelsey. They're like, dude, you're so awesome. You are the. I was like, no, man, I'm just me. I'm nothing. No, dude, you have no idea. We will sit in our car until 5:45, to wait because we know you're coming up after text line and stuff like that in the afternoons. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like we literally had a guy in the stadium, like we were cheering, and an older gentleman turns around. He says, in this thick Philadelphia accent, he says, "Hey, I got a question for you." I'm like, "Yes, sir." He said, "Is y'all named Justin, and are you from Tennessee?" Just from hearing me talk, and I had a Tennessee hat on,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I put my toboggan on because it was cold and raining, and I reached into my jacket and pulled out this Tennessee hat, and his son starts freaking out, and he says, "I told you, Pop, I told you that was him." And his son gets his phone out, and he calls his buddy, and he's wanting me to talk to his buddy and stuff. But like the end of that game, dude, when Jalen ran that in, I damn near jumped out of my skin. I
Oh
was
yeah.
going,
That's been
me and
incredible.
Owen hugging, jumping around. I hugged the dude in front of me and his son, and it was so freaking awesome, dude. And luckily, we were kind of under the overhang because it was raining solid. But
Oh
we were
yeah.
driving
The weather was
until
awful.
we left the game. When we left the game, we were soaked. We were drowned rats when we left the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had at a sporting event. I will never forget it for the rest of my life, no matter what.
Oh wow. That's incredible. That must have been amazing. I hope I hope this Kelly Green game goes just well. Hopefully it doesn't end up going like that. But,
Yeah.
we have to have a shootout thriller and go overtime, touch wood. But, yeah, hopefully this will be a good game now. The offense, they'll put on a good show. Hopefully the defense will make the most of the opportunities in front of them, from the disadvantages the Jaguars are facing. So, it's going to be good. So, yeah, this has been really good, Justin. I've enjoyed this, and I think
Fun, bud. I'm enjoying it.
yeah, we got something good going here. I wanted to reach out to you because like you just said, I've become a fan of you myself, listening to you on WIP, and I remember a couple of years ago you gave me a shout out on Gold Birds. You said they were, I think it was like the end of the season, and you were saying to James and Elliot that it's been a great year listening to you guys, and all these different fans come along, and you mentioned my name, you said Adam from Wales, and all these different fans, and we've corresponded on Twitter, so I thought, yeah, Justin's a good dude. He's very knowledgeable. He knows his football, and he's going to teach me a thing or two as well, which is great. So, I thought I want to do something for, we're big fans. We're not from Philly, but we love Philadelphia sports. We love the teams. We love the Phillies. We love the Eagles. And we do, we all, but we want the best for the Sixers and the Flyers as well down the road. But the Phillies and the Eagles, that's where our hearts lie. And so I thought this was, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's throw our hats in and let's see where this thing goes. It's going to be fun. We've had fun today, and yeah, that's what it's about.
Well, when you asked me to do it, I mean, I was like, sure, I'll help you out in any way I can. But if it's something you want me to join in, I'll help you. And you said, yeah, man, if you want to do it, let's do it. And I think I text you back. I said, let her rip, Tater Chip. Let's do this
Yeah.
thing. I don't care to help nobody out, not one nary bit. Real quick, trade deadline's Tuesday. What do you think? Think we do anything, or think we stand pat?
Well, I think I'm in the same field as a lot of people at the moment. I think edge rush is a priority. And I know I've seen all these reports coming out that, we're the favourite to get Buda Baker from the Cardinals. But I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have him there as a safety, but he's not going to come in and be a backup. He's going to come in and he's going to have to be a starter. So then, what happens to Sidney Brown? What happens to Reed Blankenship? CJ GJ, he's going to have to start. So then you're going to have Sidney and Blankenship. And don't get me wrong, Blankenship, he's not a world beater. And neither Sidney Brown. We need to see a lot more from Sidney Brown. But when they've been asked to come in, those guys, they perform. Blankenship, my God, he's been great every year we've had him. Yeah, he has his ups and downs like everyone else. But overall, I trust Blankenship when I see him on the field. If he has to go off with something, I'm like, oh no, we've lost Blankenship. You know what I mean? Sidney's come back now. Let's see what Sidney does. Sidney seems like he's got that aggression, that want, that attitude to get the ball, to make the stops. So, yeah, if we're going to do something at a trade deadline, it's got to be in the pass rush, definitely. For me, pass rush. Yeah, you need a good serviceable backup to come in, and Jordan Davis, God forbid Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. You need that depth because until Bryce Huff gets going, and I hope he does get going, but until he does, it looks like we're going to need to bring someone else in.
Yeah, I agree. I think pass rush is what they'll go after. Buda Baker would be a luxury at this point, in my opinion, especially with Sidney Brown coming back. Hopefully, with that knee, he starts trusting it a little more. He didn't play a whole lot last week, but I think he's going to get more playing time, especially in dime pack stuff like that. So, anyway, it's been fun, brother.
It's been fun, Justin. This has been we've had a really good first show. So this has been a lot of fun, and I can't wait for next week. So everyone, if you like the show, just give us a like, subscribe. I'm going to get the show onto Apple Podcasts later. We'll be on YouTube. You can watch the show on YouTube. So we're going to be on all the channels. So just keep supporting us. We appreciate everyone who's given us a like, giving us a follow. We're coming to you raw. We're just two fans. We love Philly. We love Philadelphia sports. So we're going to be here for the ride, going through the ups, the downs. We're going to have some good fun. And yeah, we love you guys and we mean it. like Justin says. So,
Hey, real quick, score prediction: Eagles 31, Jags 13.
I'm going to go with, I'll say Eagles 24, Jags 20. I think it's going to be
Ooh,
closer
okay.
than we, yeah, yeah.
I think we. But anyway, it's been fun, brother.
It's been fun. Until next time, everyone, thank you for tuning in and love
Love
you all,
y'all,
mean
man.
it. Mean it.